Chairs No Waiting, episode number 239. Andy Griffith Statue Revisited, Part 2. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you by the fine folks over at Weaver's Department Store. Drop by over at Weaver's and pick up some of your favorite Mayberry items. Or maybe if they're not your favorite, maybe they're somebody else's. Drop by over at weaversdepartmentstore.com and pick up something for the Mayberry fan in your life. Two Chairs No Waiting is also brought to you by donations from listeners just like you. The executive producer of Two Chairs No Waiting, number 239, is Doug Rogers. Hello, everybody. I'm Alan Newsom, your host for Two Chairs No Waiting, and thank you for joining me here in Mayberry. It's always great to get together and visit with friends and family, because I feel like you are family. Been doing this show for a long time, so it's a lot of fun to hear from you guys and to be able to spend a little bit of time with you as well. So I mentioned hearing from you because episode number 237 of Two Chairs No Waiting, we went back and revisited a portion of the 2004 Mayberry Days presentation that Andy Griffith did at the statue dedication for the Andy and Opie statue that TV Land presented. Now, I went back and played a part of that. It was actually part 2 that I played because we had covered that back in episode number 101 of the podcast. Well, the difference being this time I actually had video. So if you actually went and watched the video of podcast number 237 of Two Chairs No Waiting, you would be able to see Andy doing this. Now, I want to thank my friend Doug Rogers, who provided the video. And he also provided the entire video. So that's what we're going to do tonight, folks. We're going to see the entire video with the exception of the part I already showed you in episode 237. So we're going to see parts 1, 3, and 4 if you actually listen to episodes 100 through 103 back in the day. You know, it was a while back, a few hundred episodes ago, 130 some odd episodes ago. So we're going to watch the video. Now, here's what Doug says. We want to thank him for that. But here's what he said. He said, unfortunately, the video isn't great. On the day of the dedication, I was all set to shoot the whole thing on the tripod. And then I got stuck in the back behind the media, and it had to come off the tripod. And he had to pull it off the tripod, and, he was constantly zooming in and out. The whole thing was on the handheld. There may be bits and pieces you want to use, but like I said, it's not the best. So Doug Rogers, I want to thank him. So when you're watching this, keep in mind, if you're seeing this on the video, I actually was showing a picture of Doug so you can see, actually Floyd was cutting Doug's hair back in 2004 at Mayberry Days. So I want to thank him for this, and you guys will be able to thank him. So we're going to watch part 1 of the Andy Griffith statue dedication revisited, and then we're going to I'll have a little break. I'll explain what went on in the last episode a little bit, so you can go back and watch 237 to see that, and then we'll have parts 3 and 4. So let's go ahead and get started because this is a fairly long video. So, Andy, if you're out there, take it away.
I want to thank, hi Bertie. I want to thank Larry Jones and the folks at TV Land for putting this statue here in Mount Airy, my hometown, where our show began. And let me tell you a little bit of the truth of how this statue got here. You know, TV Land honored our show recently, several months ago. And Larry said it would be best if all the surviving members, cast members, be present. And I said I would come if he would assure me that they would build a second statue for Mount Airy. Oh. And there it is. God bless them. They did it. And Cindy Cindy wrote a release, press release for when this statue was announced. Let me read it to you. It says, I have put on the specs for that. It says, Andy has always been proud to be a member of the Griffith family and proud to have been born and raised in Mount Airy. It says when he met Sheldon Leonard in 1959 and they created the Andy Griffith Show, Andy always wanted Mayberry set in the Old North State where the wheat grows strong and the strong grow great. We've always maintained that the Andy Griffith Show was indeed in the fictional town of Mayberry, as Mount Airy has its own proud history, and we are especially happy with the success of the Surrey Arts Council and appreciate the leadership of Tanya Reese, Emmett Forrest, and Kester Singh. Now, let me stop for a minute and say that Barbara Forrest, Emmett's wife, has recently undergone heart surgery and has had a very difficult recovery. Please keep her in your prayers. And then it says the beautiful statue the folks at TV Land had created for the Andy Griffith Show was originally established in Raleigh, as that city is our capital and therefore represents all North Carolinians. And we would like to thank TV Land and the creators of the statue for agreeing to place another statue in front of the Andy Griffith Playhouse, a symbol of Surrey County's commitment to the arts. Now, that playhouse was built in the 20s. It was the 20s, isn't it? And it was originally the basketball gymnasium and auditorium for the old Rockford Street Grammar School and the old Mount Airy High School. It's the only surviving building. And perhaps our beautiful granite from the Mount Airy Quarry will help protect this representation of a sweeter time. It says a greater place and all that's best about Mount Airy. The plaque right there says a sweeter time, a gentler place. So I don't care what the news media try to do, sometimes they'll get something wrong. CBS. I made a Christmas album last year. It's called The Christmas Guest, and it's part of our promoting the album. We invited Rita Braver of CBS Sunday Morning News to come down to Matteo to interview me and Cindy, and she did. She came down, brought her whole crew, camera, lights, microphones, and interviewed all day long. Into the night, really. And one of the stories I told her was that when I was 14, I had a job sweeping out the high school for $6 a month.
Oh my.
It was part of the youth administration under Roosevelt, Depression times, you know. When the piece came out, she said, I got $6 a day. People in Manteo said they must have paid better up in Mount Airy. Hey, here's a good one. I was in a grocery store the other day and a fellow that works there came running up with one of these trash newspapers in his hand. And I took it home. Cindy read it and says, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. So I finally read it.
Hey Doug, you got a better shot.
What it said was that I was coming to Mount Airy for my final time before I died.
Oh gosh.
I hope not. I'm only 78 and still looking for acting work. I will tell you recently that two wonderful young people named Carrie and Yarrow Chansey, they wrote, what they are, they're animators. They draw three-dimensional characters on computers. And these characters can walk and talk and smile and grin and wink and everything. And they wrote a beautiful piece called The Three Wise Men. It's the story of the three wise men and the birth of Christ in rhyme. And they invited me to be the narrator and play one of the characters, the wise man, Melchior. And I loved doing it, and I wish them well with that. I know it'll be on, maybe not this Christmas, but the one after that for sure. I want to tell you this.
All right, so that's part one for tonight, part one of the Andy Griffith statue. And we're going to go and hear the parts, what would have been 3 and 4. So to get to part 2, you guys need to head back and listen to episode number 237 of the podcast. You can watch the video. Now, if you are watching the video, for those of you who are on the audio, it's shaky. So take some Dramamine before you watch it. But it's something special about seeing Andy up there and getting the statue and explaining the statue. Plus, Doug, in his attempts to try to see, moves around a good bit. So there's actually some people I spotted out in the crowd there. So if you were there in 2004, you might want to watch the video version of the podcast. You'll find it at twocairsnowaiting.com. And just look for episode number 239. You'll find the video version of the podcast just down the page. Just scroll down a little bit and you'll see it right there on the page. All right, so the last episode, part 2, which was on episode number 237 of Two Chairs No Waiting, you can hear Andy talk about selling his rights to the Andy Griffith Show to Viacom, and that how he still owned the Matlock and he had done all right. So let's get on to it. So we'll hear parts 3 and 4, and that'll be the whole thing. It's about 8 minutes long. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy this. So let's take it back away, Andy.
And now I was living in Rye, New York in those days when I was on Broadway. And Sheldon brought 2 writers, Chuck Stewart and Jackie Ellenson, to my house to see if we could come up with a few shows to start with. And we did. We came up with some outlines for a few shows. 2 of them were, one, The New Housekeeper. That was our first show where Aunt Bee came to be our housekeeper. The second one was the show that turned the tide. It was called Manhunt. Now, originally I was supposed to be funny and tell little funny stories about the people in Mayberry. And on that second show, I recognized that Don Knotts should be funny and I should play straight for him. It worked out good for both of us. Don won 5 Emmys, and I got to play straight for all the other comedic characters in the show. Oh yeah, it was one. Floyd the Barber.
Yeah!
Otis the Town Drunk. Gomer, Goober, Margaret Ann Peterson, Charlene, everybody, and the whole Darling family. And who threw rocks? Ernest E. Banks. I couldn't think of it for a second. And you know, one day there in Rye, a man came to see me named Aaron Rubin. Now, Aaron was a Jewish man, or is a Jewish man. He's still alive. And we sat and talked in 2 lawn chairs in front of our garage. And I liked him. And Aaron became our producer and head writer and my lifelong friend. And then, oh yeah, then a man named Bob Sweeney joined our show and directed our show for 3 years. And before we started, Aaron came down here to Matteo to look around, to Mount Airy, to look around, talk to people, and Bob came to look around, talk to people, get a feeling, take pictures of my family. And they wanted to come down here to where it all started, to be able to tell it right. And then we added wonderful writers over the years. Jim Fritzell and Everett Greenbaum from San Francisco and Buffalo, New York. Harvey Bullock from right here in North Carolina. Freddie Fox, a famous joke writer. Billy Idelson was a young radio actor, became a writer. So many fine writers. The way we put the show together was this. Sharon, at the beginning of each season, or the end of each season, Sheldon, Aaron, me, and as many writers as we could get in Sheldon's office would pitch stories all day long for several days. Some stories would go away. Those that were chosen, that writer would take and write a first draft of that script, send it in to Aaron, he would make notes on it, send it back, they'd write another draft. Then it would come in and Aaron and I would work on it, and Sheldon. Finally, we would get it good enough that we'd read it around the table. All the actors would be present and read the script around the table. Everybody could say anything they wanted to say about it. Finally, we'd get it the best we could get it. And then stage for rehearsal. Every script got a great deal of care so that we could make it the best we could. People sometimes ask me if Don and I ad-libbed. We ad-libbed when we were putting the script together. But once we got it together, we shot that. And hopefully it was right. We shot with one camera, like you shoot a movie. And people ask me sometimes why the show is so popular. And I've always said it's because it was based on love. Earl Hagen knew that because he wrote the beautiful music that went with the show. Earl was here last year and he sings his best. Earl is 85 now and recognized by all the fine musicians in town. I taught with my dear friend Aaron daily. Aaron is 90 now. We're all old. Aaron's 90 now and he's recently had a heart attack and is recovering. Keep him in your prayers. And Aaron has for years worked with a group called Court-Appointed Special Advocates. That's people qualified and recognized by the judicial system to speak for children who cannot speak for themselves and have nobody else to speak for them. Children. And children in trouble with the court. And many of Aaron's children have gone on to lead productive lives, have children of their own, some have even gone to college, loved. And some of them come back to spend birthdays with Aaron. And speaking of birthdays, Don Knotts turned 80, June 21st. Damn it, we're all coming to that time in life. Lo, we are. Well, it all comes back to love. Beginning in 1959, a diverse group of people worked in a harmonious way to fashion a television show that would entertain you and be honest to the show and to ourselves. Mayberry Union High, victory is yours well nigh. We'll hit the line 4 points every time. The orange and blue will try. And when the victory's won, You'll be our favorite son. Proud waves your banner in the sky. Mayberry Union High.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow, wasn't that neat? Hearing Andy sing Mayberry Union High, it doesn't get much better than that, does it, folks? Well, folks, I hope you've enjoyed this. This is a first, really, for Two Chairs No Waiting. This is a rerun of previous episodes. But I hope you have enjoyed it. I know I did. And, folks, I would love to hear from you. Thank you for those who requested that I do the revisit of the rest of the video. And so I want to encourage you to head over and watch it at twocairsnowaiting.com, episode number 239. Head over there and check it out. You can watch the whole video, or you can just listen to it like you may have just done. But if you watch, take a little Dramamine, because the video's a little shaky and it zooms in and out a lot. Doug was right. But at least we got some video and we can see Andy. And wow, that is special. So, folks, I'd love to hear from you. You can give me a call at 888-684-8415. You can drop by our website at twocairsnowaiting.com and make a comment on any of the shows there, and I'll see it. Or you can head over to facebook.com/twochairs and leave a message there. I would love to hear from you, so I look forward to it, and we'll see you guys next week on Two Chairs No Waiting, your Mayberry podcast. Good night, everybody.